Hi there, welcome to Kneppyinvests. On Friday the 3rd of December, I was so busy that I had no time to check what happened on the local markets or what happened to the performance of any of the portfolios I am tracking, including the group portfolio. If you don't know what the group portfolio is, I released a video the other day in terms of the performance of 3 portfolios, 2 personal portfolios, and a group portfolio. It wasn't until just after 8 a.m. on the 4th of December, the Saturday, that I was able to plot myself in front of the computer and have a look at how the portfolios had performed on the Friday. And I was shocked to see that the group portfolio was down by a significant amount. And the reason the group portfolio had significantly underperformed was because Novonix share price had decreased 32%. And this is significant because Novonix was by far the biggest holding in that portfolio because it has performed steadily since the 1st of July. Now, typically when a share price of a company decreases 32%, there's usually some logical explanation behind it. But for Novonix, there was no clear reason why the share price had decreased 32%. So in this video, what I'm going to do is go through possible reasons why the share price of this company dropped by a significant amount. The company themselves did give a reason or 3 reasons possibly why the share price had decreased. And I'll look through those reasons and then I'll give my own possible reasons why Novonix share price decreased 32% on Friday the 3rd of December. It is fair to say that I was quite stunned when I saw that Novonix share price had decreased $3.94 from $12.15 to $8.21, or it amounts to a 32.4% decrease in this share price. To give this decrease in share price some context, however, this is the chart of Novonix from the start of this year, and the share price of this company has increased from nearly $1 to a high of $12.50. So even though the share price did decrease 32% to $8.21, that still is an 8-fold increase in the share price of this company since the start of this year. And if we are looking at this particular daily chart, the share price of Novonix is still in a well-defined uptrend. But whenever you see a share price of a company drop 32% in the one day, it is probably a smart thing to try to understand why that is happening. And usually there's a logical reason behind it. Usually the company has released some negative news. But if we look at the news flow from Novonix, there is no logical reason here why the share price of this company fell 32%. In fact, on the Thursday, just after closing, there was a final director's interest notice released. Then the company went into a trading hold at 1:32 p.m. And the reason the company went into a trading hold was because the share price was decreasing. And they had to try to explain this to the ASX because of an ASX price query. So in the ASX price query, Novonix has to answer 3 questions. The first question the ASX asked Novonix, is there any unreleased sensitive information that the company hasn't released that could justify why the share price is falling by a significant amount? And if the company answers no to that, they don't have to answer 2, but they do have to answer number 3. And number 3 is asking Novonix, is there any other explanation out there that could explain why the share price is decreasing by a significant amount? And in question 3, we do get some possible explanations from Novonix. In fact, they gave us 3 possible explanations. The first possible explanation Novonix gives is in regards to that final director notice the company released. But after close of trading on the Thursday, this doesn't make much sense, even though management did mention they were receiving a few queries from shareholders. Now, investors do at times get nervous when insiders sell some shares of a company because they believe that means the company is not performing. But research has shown that the performance of a company's shares over the long term is not affected by directors or insiders selling. It might be affected in the short term, but it is not an indication of the performance of a company. And there is a saying that directors or insiders buy for one reason, but sell for many reasons. They could be selling because they're buying a yacht, selling because of tax reasons, selling because they just went through a divorce and they have to give their ex-wife or ex-husband heaps of money. The second reason was in regards to a CNBC article on Tesla requesting tariff waivers for Chinese graphite. Now, for the simple fact they have mentioned this must be a bit of a negative in regards to Novonix. But could this justify the share price of Novonix dropping 32%? Now, Tesla did mention, or Elon Musk has mentioned, that Chinese graphite is highly important to the company or Tesla because of the quality. And if there are tariffs applied to Chinese graphite, that will negatively affect Tesla. And then I think, in a way, negatively affect Novonix. But again, does this justify dropping the share price of Novonix by 32%? I think not. If the market was getting worried about this, I think it completely overreacted. The third possible reason Novonix gives is in relation to an AFR, Australian Financial Review article, written by Tom Richardson on the green stock bubble. And in fact, Tom Richardson or its editors, or AFR editors, decided to include Novonix in the title of the article, which is Novonix Australian Ethical could be in a green stock bubble. Now, I have read this article, and Tom Richardson starts talking about Australian Ethical at the start. So it seems like the crux of this article was about Australian Ethical. And in a way, I have to agree with Tom Richardson about Australian Ethical. Australian Ethical is severely overrated or overvalued, in my opinion. Has about $11 million of profit, yet its value is about $1.5 billion. And one of the reasons why the share price and the value of Australian Ethical has gone on a massive run recently is because of that one word in the company's or the fund's name, ethical. So there are a lot of investors out there who are really interested into buying ethical companies, ethical funds. And a lot of these investors are quite green, and they won't look at the value of the fund or the company. They'll just see the word ethical and decide that is the fund for them. And it's those investors who have been driving up the share price and the value of Australian Ethical to pretty lofty heights. And in fact, I do know some people who are buying Australian Ethical not because they believe in ethical investing, but they simply believe the share price of this fund is going to go higher because of those investors who are just buying into the fund because of the word ethical. So I do think Tom Richardson has a valid point when it comes to Australian Ethical. And then he started talking about Novonix and how the market cap of Novonix was something like $6 billion, yet the revenue of Novonix in the past quarter was something like $2 million. I've heard other people reasoning that if you look at the financial performance of Novonix, it really doesn't justify a market cap of $6 billion. But a lot of those people are missing out the fact that it's the future of Novonix that a lot of investors are excited about. It's not the past, it's the future. And there is a potential long runway of success for Novonix over the next decade or even longer. And that's why the value of Novonix is $6 billion, not because it received $2 million of revenue in the past quarter. So I do think there are some people out there who are getting tripped up about the financial performance of Novonix in the past, yet are completely ignoring about the future of the company. He also mentions a few other companies in this space, the lithium and EV space, like I think it was Lake Resources, Vulcan, Core Lithium, Arizona Lithium. And to be honest with you, if this article was a reason why the share price of Novonix dropped 32%, we must have seen the share price of Australian Ethical and any of these other companies mentioned in the article fall away by quite a bit. But I went to see how Australian Ethical had performed. In fact, the share price increased on Friday, the 3rd of December. So I don't think this is a logical explanation why Novonix share price dropped 32% on Friday, the 3rd of December. I've already shown you the daily chart for Novonix since the start of financial year, or actually calendar year 2021. This chart is the 1 minute trading for Novonix from the end of trading on Thursday, the 2nd of December. The first noticeable thing I get from this chart is there was a little bit of selling on open for this company. And it seems like there is a possibility there could have been a positive feedback loop. So there could have been some short-term or long-term or short-term or day traders who had a position in this company, saw there was a little bit of selling at the start of trading, and they liquidated their positions, and that could have triggered some stop losses, that sort of thing. And there was gradual selling throughout the day for Novonix. And I do think it's all about that positive feedback loop. You might have had some weak shareholders who saw the share price falling, and they could have got spooked out, and then they sold their shares. Stop losses again as the share price kept on dropping. And we actually did see a bit of an increase in volume just after Novonix came out of that trading hold in regards to the ASX price query. In the last about 10 to 15 minutes of trading, we did see an increase in buying. In fact, the share price did increase over the last 6 minutes and into the closing auction. So some positive signs for Novonix over the last few minutes of trading on Friday, the 3rd of December. And the question is whether that positive momentum we did see in the last 10 minutes, whether that can continue into Monday and Tuesday. I am a little bit wary about that simply because the share price decreasing 32% might spook other holders right now into selling their Novonix shares. To this point, there is no clear, logical explanation to why Novonix share price decreased 32% in the one day. So I thought I'd just give you some of my thoughts right now. Now, I'm not convinced by Novonix's possible explanations as the sole reasons why the share price decreased by that amount, but they could be playing a part. And one of the things that could be happening with Novonix right now is just an unfortunate confluence of events that all came together on the one day to explain why the share price decreased by that amount. And the first thing that happened was a technical signal for day and short-term traders to get out of Novonix because the share price did fall on open on the Friday. And that could have been caused by the catalyst. Maybe some day short-term traders saw some of these articles, saw that final director's notice and decided to sell out of the position to liquidate their position. And initially the share price did decrease a little bit on open. And then maybe that triggered some stop losses. And then that led to the share price decreasing even further. And then that could have triggered more stop losses. And then there could be some low conviction weak holders who had seen the share price decreasing, and they could be nervous because of what's happening with the overall market. And because they are weak holders with low conviction, they see the share price falling and they just have to liquidate out the position. And that just adds fuel to the fire. There could also be a lot of profit taking. The share price had increased 12-fold, or nearly 12-fold, over the past 9 to 12 months. So a lot of people are highly in profit when it comes to Novonix, and they could be seeing the share price decreasing and think now is time to take my profits. The other explanation, well, Novonix share price and valuation could be in a bubble right now, and this could be the burst of the bubble, could be the start of the share price going through a long-term downtrend from here. And the other thing I should mention is just the overall market sentiment. It seems like we're going to a risk-off scenario, and because the value of this company was about $6 billion, one of the first things a lot of people might be selling are these higher risk investments, and that could be another reason why there was a little bit of selling in Novonix. And all these factors together could be an explanation why Novonix share price dropped 32% in the one day. Otherwise, I have seen or heard no reason why or could justify why Novonix share price dropped by that significant amount in the one day. If you do have a reason, I'd love to hear it, because I am open to understanding and trying to figure out why Novonix share price dropped by this amount in the one day. That's all I have for this video on why Novonix share price dropped 32% on the 3rd of December 2021. If you do have any further explanations you would like to tell us or me, I'd love to hear from you, because this is a really interesting situation. In fact, I'm really intrigued to see how Novonix share price performs over the next few trading days, because I have heard a few people say that the value of this company now is looking more attractive. And more than likely, they are high conviction investors. They already hold some shares and they could be seeing some value now. On the flip side, there could be some lower conviction holders who have seen the share price drop 32% in one day and are very nervous in regards to Novonix right now. And what happens on the Monday and Tuesday of the new trading week, I think, will be very important to the future share price movements of this company. If we see significant drops in share price on significant volume, that would mean the bears are winning and those high conviction sellers don't have enough power. But if we see the share price stabilize, that would tell me there's enough high conviction buyers out there who see the future of Novonix in a high light, and that could be a good time to take a position in this company if you think there is good value there. So if you do have some opinions on Novonix and what happened on Friday, the 3rd of December, I'd love to hear your opinions. Otherwise, I am not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.